There isn't one Leicester spectator who's arrived today expecting defeat. There's a marvellous feeling of anticipation here. It's a heady cocktail, and here at Bristol, they're trying to ruin the party. And a respectful round of applause from the home support. Should say that Derek Eves led Bristol out for the last time. But now the chant begins for Leicester and their captain, Dean Richards. It is a quite amazing noise. What a day. Leicester have just the one full international in their team, and that is Captain Richards. All the other England men have played out their pre-World Cup quota. The interesting selection in the absence of the Underwoods, Wayne Kilford, normally a fullback, he plays on the wing. But champions should possess strength in depth. Today is the ultimate squad test. The Bristol pack has been depleted in recent times. No Blackmore, Shaw in the second row or Sharp in the front row. But there's a welcome debut for Gareth Archer. He will tour with England A this summer. But Kieran Bracken misses out again. Mark Chudley deputises. Dean Richards, fit and raring to go. And the man that will start the game, and a lot of pressure on the Leicester fly half, Jez Harris. Our referee is Jerry Wallace. It's a big day for him as well. He was certainly excited by the prospect half an hour or so before kick-off. And now we do begin the final Saturday of the league season. Leicester going left to right.
Take him out! Take him out!
Nicely secured by Bristol early on, and Derek Eves shouting the orders right in the middle of that, rolling more forward from Bristol. And they get the put in. Here's Jamie.
Yes, thank you, Miles. Good afternoon, everybody. Well, Bristol are not here to make up the numbers. They've got to ensure that they make Leicester work terribly hard for this title. Leicester couldn't have wished for a better final game of the season at home against a side, Bristol, who have not been at their best since Christmas. So the first few minutes will be very interesting indeed.
Dean Richards was standing off that first scrum, confidence of the power of the forwards. First test for Kilford. And there's commitment early on from Bristol there, but nice and safe from Leicester. And Harris decides to run in early on. Potter wasn't up to it. Maybe taken by surprise by the Harris run.
Well, Stuart Potter may well have done, but it was a big overlap for Leicester on that occasion. Jez Harris, exactly the right option to run it. And definitely a catchable ball, really, for Stuart Potter. But, oh, there was an overlap. Steve Hackney would have relished that.
Well, it was an adventurous start, and it bodes well. Tainton's a long way back here. An early drop goal from him. And relief from the Leicester supporters. And there's Mark Tainton, who's well within sight of the league record for points in a season. Just needs 10 more points today to reach the record, which is currently held by Leicester's Jez Harris. Referee quite happy to let play go on and give Leicester the penalty. He thought the restart had drifted over the line and come back into the Leicester 22. Now here's John Lively, who really has been Leicester's lead man in recent weeks.
Yes, he certainly has, not just for his goal kicking either, which has gotten out of trouble because Jez Harris has struggled in that department in the last few weeks or latter stages of the season. But his play from, in terms of counter-attacking and coming into the line, has been very good indeed. First line-up will be interesting today for Leicester. No Martin Johnson, who's been their banker in the line-out.
Richard Cockrell will take the throw. They went for Grant at the front. It was taken in by Cardooni in the end. And the referee playing advantage. It had come forward off a Leicester hand, but Bristol have it with Tainton now. One meant for the centres, Denny and Smith. David John. And Leicester lining up left here. They're encouraged by the crowd to run it. This is Richie Robinson. Over halfway, he's got support outside. This could be a dream start for Leicester. It's Kilford, needs a ball from Potter. Oh, what a start! What a try! Instinctive running from Leicester. And that settled the crowd's nerves, and Stuart Potter, who dropped the ball in injury time in the Cup semi-final, has hardly forgiven himself for that, has got a try on the final league Saturday of the season, which could be taking Leicester to the title.
Well, as you say, brilliant counter-attack. This is Richie Robinson with the ball, and he draws Paul Howell very well indeed. Paul Howell, the last man there, wasn't the best of passes, but certainly Kilford did the right thing, passed it on to Potter. Great try from Leicester.
Robinson's pace, well, we've heard about it, and there it was. As Jamie says, not a great pass, but Kilford did well to take it and keep the move going. Potter can only see one thing, that's the line.
And David John, of course, the Bristol right winger, was in the rack beforehand. That's why there was all that space out there on the right-hand side, or Bristol's right-hand side.
Haven't played 5 minutes. Leicester have come out in a determined fashion. Here's Liley. He hasn't brought that one round. He's actually missed one. That's just the start they wanted. They say that Bristol are Leicester's bogey team, but over the years, I suppose that is the case. Leicester have a 5-4 lead in league meetings, but Bristol have never won a league meeting here at Welford Road, and history is against them today. The first knock-on was by Leicester, and Bristol get the put-in.
Yes, it was Dean Richards who dropped that restart ball, very unlike him. And Bristol with a chance to come straight back into the game. Richards is standing off here, as you can see. He's quite confident in his other 7 forwards to hold the Bristol shove.
And a genuine test now of Bristol's resolve. They were saying they would come here to make up the numbers. They were determined that was not going to be the case, even though they could give their local rivals Bath the title if they were to be victors today. But to concede a try like that so early on, well, it does rattle the nerves, and Armstrong there with the knock-on. Back to Harris. I think the referee should go back for the scrum. He does.
Well, it wasn't the best back row move in the world from Bristol. A little flip inside, which could have gone anywhere, did go anywhere. And certainly that's the reason for this scrum to Leicester. I think Bristol got to chance their arm a bit. I think they've got to move the ball out wide and take the Leicester backs on. I don't think in close with Richards and John Wells there is going to make any inroads for them at all.
He'd be some player, wouldn't he, Dean Wells? All the assets of them both. The hooker has been penalised, Mark Regan. And free kick to Leicester. Well, everything they could do is going to get applause, but that actually was a very good touch find from Liley.
Well, that's Mark Regan, the Bristol hooker, going on the England A tour to Australia, and certainly would be encouraged by, I think, yesterday's news that Brian Moore's finally standing down.
Well, I know they're wearing letters today, but the number 2 jersey for England is up for grabs now with Brian Moore's announcement, and Regan very much involved. Here's Matt Poole, had an England tour last summer, and a lot of responsibility on his shoulders today in the absence of Martin Johnson.
Yes, absolutely right. That one went to 2 in the line out, and Bristol won it, but it was scrappy, and Poole comes through. And as you rightly say, Matt Poole's got to be the senior pro in the middle of the line out today with no Johnson there.
And Regan was almost looking for Poole there. but Leicester encroached and barged their way through, and the referee gave Bristol a chance to relieve the pressure. Tainton may have overdone that. He has, by quite a long way.
Well, that was probably the right option from Mark Tainton. But really, it's just 5 yards too big. Got to get his sights yet. I think it's important from Bristol's point of view, they stay positive. They must try and get something on the board pretty soon. 5-3 or something like that would do them a big favour.
Paul responding to the challenge which has been laid down to him today. And now that immense Leicester pack gets the rumble forward. And they're still going, sapping the Bristol forwards of energy here early on in the match. Good technique, wins the penalty. Bristol forced to pull it down. And this is well within range for John Liley.
Well, the pressure told eventually, didn't it? That pack got themselves going, the rolling ball. Here we see it, nicely in control. Bristol penalised for pulling it down. Could have played a little bit of advantage perhaps, because Dean Richards had the ball in his hand, takes it off Cockrell. But the referee decided to blow up. Obviously a penalty chance here for John Liley. But that bodes well for Leicester, I think, for the rest of the game.
John Liley, a try last week against Sale, which helped take his side to an important victory. Many saw that as the banana skin. But when there's so much expectation, and there's a different kind of pressure on Leicester's shoulders, even at home. But Liley has been the man all season, and especially in the latter stages of the season, to survive any pressure. It's looking good for Leicester. Nearly 11 minutes on the clock, and it's Leicester 8, Bristol 0. Knock on by Bristol. It's been a confident start, hasn't it, by Leicester?
Well, it has. They've taken their chances. They had, that chance to score, and they took it very well indeed. Dean Richards quite rightly going for the penalty on that occasion. Get 8 up, get down there again, perhaps go 11 up. They look in control up front. That's the key thing. That's where it all starts.
Scrummage wheeling round more than 90 degrees. Cardooni. Certainly gone high enough. Bristol were caught offside. Adel Cardooni scored a try in the cup game, remember, down at the Memorial Ground. Nothing seems to faze John Liley.
No, indeed, and Bristol can't afford to give away penalties. Here go Leicester with a quick line out, short line out.
Grant tapped it back well. This is Harris. Potter, the try scorer, onto Garforth, who loves those driving runs forward. Just a suspicion there that Bristol were offside. The referee's letting it go. Harris knocks on, but we do go back for the penalty. Bristol had gone over the top and on the wrong side. And with very little breeze in the air, Liley will take this on.
Yes, he will. Well, it supports my point that if Bristol keep giving away penalties, they're going to be in big trouble. And here we get Garforth. He's done well in the last few weeks, taking those short pot balls. Bristol coming off. So referee, to be fair to him, did very well. Played a bit of advantage this time. Hand out there, showing that advantage is being played to Leicester. And the ball comes out. Cardooni couldn't quite get it to hand to Jez Harris.
scored many points for Leicester over the years, John Liley. And if this kick were to go over, he would reach 600 league points for Leicester. That's a marvellous total and shows what kind of commitment he's given to the club. I'm not sure if the crowd know that Liley has reached 600. I'm not sure they care on an afternoon like this. All they wanted to see was that ball safely go through, and already it's a long way back for Bristol.
I think the only thing they care about is he kicks a few more this afternoon.
Chudley went by himself.
Very good kick from Mark Tainton. A lot of pressure there on Paul Grant as he went up for the ball.
So it was a good restart from Tainton. And good awareness from Chudley as well. He's only 20 years of age.
Wait there, Derek. Big step, big step.
Matt Paul. And Cardooni likes to take those on himself, not risk the pass out to either Liley or Harris. And he's got a more than useful boot, as Cardooni.
Well, interestingly too, they threw to Matt Poole. He's the big man. He's the big man. There's Dean Richards just holding the ball.
As you can see, the influence of Richards there. And that's perhaps what Bristol need here. Gareth Archer starting the roll forward, and Leicester's turn to bring it down. And it's Bristol's kicking machine, Mark Tainton, who steps forward. First play for Bristol 11 years ago now. Tainton showing signs of the perspiration and the effort. Oh, confident kick.
Well, that's a good reminder for Leicester that they've got to be on their mettle. They can't afford to give away penalties. Tainton is a very good goal kicker, no question about that. The crowd realised that Leicester have relaxed a little bit and picked up the pace, and Leicester have got to do the same on the field.
That one not travelling 10 metres. And Bristol will come all the way back to halfway. They will have the put into the scrum. There's no excuse, really, for this.
No, it's unlike Jez Harris, to be fair. You know, there's no wind to consider, unlike last week. You know, it's a pretty still day here.
Tainton keeps putting in those low kicks.
That's ideal. That's all you want to do from that situation. Midfield scrum. Wayne Kilford, left winger. Normally a fullback was up pretty flat there. Just checking on David John. You can see the amount of space that was in behind. That all stems really from Jez Harris not finding 10 metres from the restart.
Gareth, step out. Gareth. Wait there, Derek. Wait there. Big step. Step. Oh, he's
Outside arm used by Bristol. Mark Fontaine running back. Let's take a closer look. Well, it wasn't Fontaine, in fact it was Patton at the front. And if Bristol know all about the Tainton boot, And Leicester know about the value of the Lively boot as well. Wasn't quite straight, was it? But the free kick has been given as Bristol try and up the pace. This is Tainton. This is Smith. They brought Hull into the line. But it was Richie Robinson in with one of those crunching tackles. And Leicester look to run it from deep now with Lively. And he releases Matt Paul in the unlikely position of left wing. We're certainly looking for the forwards. And offside against Bristol. A bit too eager.
Well, it's interesting because Bristol have decided to try and up the pace and tap everything and do quick line-outs and keep the game going, which is fair enough from their point of view. They're being positive in trying to do it. The problem is they're playing the backs. That time, Paul Howell, it wasn't a sympathetic pass. It was too hard. Ball went down, and Leicester will snuffle that sort of situation up. You can see how many yards it's cost them.
Derek Eves in his last game as captain after a 5-year reign, trying to give his side the oomph and lift.
Wait there. Big step, Derek. Stop!
Paul is winning everything that's offered to him. Although the quality of that delivery to Cardooni can be called under question. And there's Dennis Easby, the president of the RFU. And he will be presenting the trophy at the end of the afternoon, should Leicester win it. But they are on their way. The referee is wanting the scrum to be absolutely still, or as close to still as possible when the ball is put in. Chudley wasn't happy, as you could see. He still looks for winger John, nevertheless. Kilford comes in, and that's the beauty of having a fullback on the wing, of course. No problems about taking the high ball. And now the forwards. They love the pack here. Harris. Testing out Hull. He overdid the kick though, and it gave Hull a lot of time, but this is Bristol trying to open it out from deep inside their own half. It's out to winger Gavin Sharp. Hull, having started the move, feels duty-bound to be the first man to arrive. Eves, never far behind, takes it on. Chudley, Hull. Leicester cover all there. The referee penalised Leicester, and then Cardooni with a little bit of back chat costs his side another 10 metres, so Hinkins finds Patton. Much to Bristol's credit, they're trying to raise their game. Harris with the knockdown. There's all happening out there. Off the ball tackles as well. And Leicester eventually get the foot in. But I think well done Bristol there, a willingness to run the ball.
Absolutely right, they've just got to straighten up a bit and take the ball at pace. A little bit of cross-field at the moment, but that's the way to play it. There's no point just going in for a forward battle. They've got to keep the ball in hand, concentrate on ball retention, because anything that gets turned over, Leicester will make big use of.
Shows a lot of play in that middle section. So although Leicester have this points advantage, they haven't always been down inside the Bristol 22.
Good kick from Cardooni. Absolutely on the button to David John. Kilford came up and challenged. Little knock on. Leicester are 30 yards on with their own scrummage.
This is Potter. Harris. His first thought this afternoon, you know, is to run it, which is refreshing. Cardooni was demanding the scrummage, but Bristol get it. Blair was on his feet. Chudley trying that tactic once more for John.
Well, it's not going to work, that, because Leicester have put Kilford right back and just moving Dean Richards on the blind side. He's better off taking the ball around the blind side, committing Richards and giving David John a go at Dean Richards.
Stuart, what's going through your mind?
Well, it's good to see Leicester running the ball. They're obviously confident, but I just wonder how much they're missing Neil Back, because too many balls are not being recycled. With Back, they could really take this game and take Bristol apart.
Paul was again the man to win it at the line out. Now, Potter's been inspired by that try, which was the first try from a Leicester centre this season. Harris wants the drop goal, has time to readjust himself and get the right result. He got a hat-trick of drop goals against Bath. That's his 13th of the season. It's been very productive, that for Leicester this year, the Harris drop goal. And despite the slight obstruction initially, Harris was not going to be deterred.
No, he certainly wasn't. Opportunity made by Stuart Potter. Good ball presentation at the end of it, and quick ball back to Jez Harris.
And the touch fine to follow. Jez Harris. Innovation from Bristol now, and Fontaine did well to move into the gap and all the time in the world to lay it back, didn't he? Eves. What's his ball retention like there? He seemed to be turning the wrong way after the tackle. He's got the put in. And watching in the crowd, Neil Back and Rory Underwood and Graham Roundtree there as well. None of them able to play today. Neil Back biting the nails.
He's got a long time to go yet.
Hope he's got long nails. Tainton. This is Sharp joining the line over from the left wing. Leicester tackling is good, and they're ripping the ball clear. They're going to get a penalty. Hackney needn't worry.
Well, again, Bristol trying to run the ball, bringing Gavin Sharp in from the blind side wing. It's got to come in absolutely dead straight. That's the key thing. But again, they couldn't recycle the ball. Dean Richards actually turned him right over into Leicester's favour.
Well, John Liley, and there are a few fullbacks in the Courage League playing as well as Liley these days. And there's Richard Cockrell, who had that battle against Gareth Adams, another young England hopeful, when Bath played here recently. And today Cockrell will relish the challenge of taking on Mark Regan, who's going on the A tour with Adams. Remember, Cockrell not going away for England this summer. He's not best pleased about it. Tainton. This is Smith and Hull. And the quick pass there was required because there was a sniff of an overlap. But it was soon sniffed out. Yet back in midfield. There's a penalty to Bristol for offside. This is the move.
Well, Steve Hackney came in for Paul Hull, and so therefore had to rush the pass.
Tainton probing and pushing. Absolutely full today. Here go Bristol with this tap-and-go policy. It's Armstrong this time leading the charge. Chudley, Tainton. Ring trying to provide the loop with ease, but not a single Bristol forward there when it mattered. And Liley, well, he hasn't found touch, so the applause dies down. This is David John. This is Patton, the number 8. Big rangy fellow, and he takes some tackling with those legs pumping. And Leicester get the put in.
That's the problem, really. I mean, Bristol are taking it into contact situations and not getting the second, third phase ball. You're not going to score against Leicester off first phase. The defence is too good. They've got to try and generate second and third phase ball. And you need ball retention to do that, and you need support.
Nearly half an hour gone, and I'm sure Leicester more than satisfied with the progress of the match. Bristol have not been able to convert their possession into the points that would unsettle Leicester. Because if he gets close, rest assured, Leicester will start to get more than a little fearful. Gavin Sharp's knock-on. An elementary error on the RAF man. Now this week we're watching the conclusion of the Courage League. Next week from 2 o'clock, join us live at Twickenham for the Pilkington Cup final, Bath against Wasps. John Wells against Derek Eves. Eves nearly won that battle.
He certainly did. John Wells made no ground whatsoever. But Leicester got the scrum again.
Richie Robinson. Richards just tries to help out. Look how he just made sure that the way was clear and then policed it. David John came in. But before that, Bristol were preventing Leicester release.
Well, David John actually makes the tackles. He's on the ground there. He gets back on his feet and comes up with the ball. I can't see too much wrong with it, to be frank with you.
Certainly David John didn't agree.
But if you get back on your feet, you can then play the ball.
And quite a week last week. He scored 13 tries in the Henley Sevens on Sunday. It's not a bad day's work on your day off. Liley then. Solid contact, but not the direction. And Hull. Thought about running it from deep poor Hull, but decided that the safest option was to find touch. The crowd just try and lift Leicester for the final 7 or 8 minutes of this first half. Everybody feels in control of the situation here, but it can turn around so quickly. That's Paul Grant who made that catch, deputising for Martin Johnson, one of 2 brothers here at Leicester. Excellent work from the pack. Now Cardini wants it. Just don't leave it too late. And they have got it. It's Harris, it's Robinson, it's Garforth. And Eves just somehow tackles him and then rips it free. And Tainton with the sidestep, which encourages him to run. That wasn't in his mind initially, but as soon as he got the space, he looked for even more. But Leicester get the penalty, and then I think Gareth Archer has gone climbing in after the whistle had gone, and referee Jerry Wallace has a few choice words there with Gareth Archer, who's making his Bristol debut today. He's disgusted by the initial decision. Let's take a closer look.
Well, first of all, I mean, it's a good break by Mark Tainton, saw the dummy there. Took a while to convince himself there was a gap there. Nicely inside to Hinkins. Now, he doesn't release. He's on the ground there. He's Leicester at first. He doesn't release. And you'll see from the right-hand side, well, there's Archer coming in, and you'll see as the Leicester player goes in, there he is. Seems to be more his man than anybody else.
Well, neither side were really staying on their feet when they arrived at the breakdown. Derek Eves. There have been reports that Eves will leave Bristol at the end of the season and seek a new challenge, and those reports were not exactly discouraged by one or two Eves' words of late. But after his England A selection, he feels a little happier about the situation. This is Lively for Leicester. It's not quite worked for John Lively today. Jez Harris didn't knock that forward, or did he? Yes, he did. That was right on the margin, that decision.
Well, I think Paul Hull's quite happy with it, having screwed his clearance kick up. Leicester just haven't quite taken their chances in the last 10 minutes. They could easily be 17 or 20 points to 3 up, but not quite. Bristol are still in it, just about.
Richard says mine. You wouldn't argue. What a catch. And the inevitable cries of Dino ring around the ground. And Tainton's, Harris's kick didn't find touch. This is sharp. And he has found touch, courtesy of Darren Garforth. And there in the space of 60 seconds you saw a magnificent catch from Dean Richards. And the power also of another Leicester forward. And the speed as well to be the first to arrive. Darren Garforth, look at him. You're mine.
He's had a very good season, Darren Garforth, especially around the field. Very much an unsung hero.
Nicely tidied up there by Derek Jelly, who would grace the first team of many clubs around the country. Has to wait until Graham Rowntree can't play before Jelly gets into the team. And Jelly very much involved in this move, and also the rest of the front row. Long blast from referee Wallace.
Well, it's against Darren Garforth. He had a little dig at one of the Bristol players. So he's not terribly happy, and the lecture's being shifted in, and looks like a yellow card for Garforth.
Well, referee Wallace has said there was absolutely no need to do it.
Well, he's probably right, because he'd already given the penalty. You'll see number C there, that's him at the back of that maul. You'll see his right leg there, bang. Nowhere near the ball or anything like that, right in front of the referee. So Jerry Wallace was quite right in doing. I wish, though, he would put the yellow card up in the air so everybody could see what he's doing.
It's almost an apology, isn't it, when the card goes up? But an entirely right decision there by referee Wallace. The replay clearly showed that Garforth went for the man. Patton. This is Fontaine. Well picked up by Eves. And Chudley finds Tainton. Hinkins. trying to keep it moving, keep it flowing. It's the kick that crosses the gain line, though.
Bristol have done very well to stay in the game, I think, in this half. They play the game quickly, they're trying to be positive, take the game to them, take the Leicester players on. They're falling down with as I said before, the second, third phase, getting into contact and recycling. They won't score off first phase against a side so defensively well organised as Leicester.
Wait there. Wait there. Big step. Step.
Half-time just around the corner then, and Matt Paul has played expertly right the way through this first half. Marvellous second-row play from Matt Paul. And even though Lively's kicking at goal has been disappointing for him, especially his recent standards, his touch finds have been good. But had Lively taken those chances at goal, Leicester would have been out of sight. In comes Denny. Gareth Archer, upended by John Wells. Armstrong. Hinkins. Now it's Tainton. Keeping it tight here, Bristol, but they'll have to sling it out wide to break down this Leicester defence. There it is, it's free, it's anybody's down there. Referee can't see it, he's on the far side, but it doesn't matter anyway, because that is in fact half-time, and Leicester have a useful advantage. They've done half of the job, and they're just 40 minutes away from the title. Leicester, who won the championship in its first year, could be going to their second championship. Helped by that Potter try, they lead at half-time by 14 points to 3. We're back shortly. It's 40 minutes away, and I think the first 10 minutes of this second half will be vital. If Leicester can continue with this grip, as Stuart Potter, so relieved, as Tony Underwood was saying at half-time there, to take that catch, having dropped the ball in the semi-final. The crowd are raising the temperature. They're ready for the start of the second half. Dean Richards just encouraging now. His final few words without frantic action taking place all around him. Important, well-chosen words, I'm sure, at half-time. And here we go, the final half of League Rugby this season, and Mark Tainton starts it for Bristol. Tainton was confronted straight away by Harris. Almost offside, but this is Hull. Oh, that was neat work. He was off balance and did well to get that away. The man who will captain England A this summer.
Well, it was a bit past the parcel, wasn't it, in his early stages of the second half. Paul House holds it all down, chips it through.
And he will also captain Bristol next year. He's the man that takes over from Derek Eves.
Wait there, Derek. Big step. On a big step. Step. Hold on.
Paul again doing enough to stamp his authority on the line out, and Bristol who'd come round offside. There's Mark Regan. He came bursting through. There he is. Lively's gone for Bro there. What a kick.
Well, from Leicester's point of view, they've really got to score early. Quick line-out going in here. Didn't quite work in Leicester's favour.
Archer just got a hand on it, but it's still Leicester ball. That was anybody's. Hackney, who's got the cleanest shorts on the pitch, took it in, and here's Cardooni, and here's Lively in there, calling for it left. Long pass from Harris, Guildford just didn't arrive there in time and knocked it forward, so we'll have a Bristol scrummage. But there was an overlap, and once again Matt Poole was out there, wasn't it?
Yes, he likes to linger or loiter out on this left wing, or any wing actually. It was just too far in front of Guildford and Matt Poole outside him. Would have been interesting if Matt Poole had about 15 yards to go. But Bristol actually had the angle there. It needed somebody to come in a bit straighter to commit those Bristol players going across the field. Good player though, Guildford, good footballer.
Normally a fullback, but today on the wing in the absence of both Underwoods.
But I'm sure Dean Richards is well aware that he's got to spend this first 10 minutes or so in the Bristol half, get a chance, whether it's a penalty or a try, to extend the 14-3 lead. So it really does get Bristol out of the game, and then they've got to play catch-up rugby from deep, which is very difficult indeed.
I was down here in Leicester on Thursday night, and everybody wanted to go out on the right note in terms of running game, but also acknowledge that the game has to be secure before any throwing it around in the backs. Patton doing well to burst through there. This is Chudley off to Ozdemir. Chudley again, this is Tainton. This move in the centre finds Nick Smith. South African, dual national. And Leicester get the put in.
That is where there's a big difference between the lesser sides and the top sides. The ball went in there with Nick Smith, the centre. He was wrapped up. Leicester, if they'd gone in that situation, they'd have got the ball back. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to be able to take the ball in and get it back, and i.e. recycle it.
Scrummage has gone beyond 90 degrees.
I mean, Leicester get there in good numbers, and Nick Smith doesn't know quite where his support is. You can see hands on ball. Leicester have wrapped him up so completely that he just cannot get that ball back on his side.
Harris, saw the gap. Oh, didn't he use the space well? Now can he find support? It comes from Drake Lee, who went with him, forward from Wells. Initial run from Harris, though.
It was a super run from Harris. I thought it might have been a Bristol hand in there as well, actually. Another little dummy from Jez Harris. Through he goes, looks right and left. Picks up the support well. Bill Drake Lee. And then just as he gets it away, I thought it was a little Bristol hand. Bit of 50-50, Miles.
Yep. 50-50. Bristol get the free kick. You've thrown me now. Trouble here for Denny. Drake Lee's got him. Leicester players encouraged to charge through. Well, they almost made it in time, but they've got it now. And now the crowd scream for them to drive on. Richards doing manfully to keep it up. And now the roll round. And the penalty. But Bristol, their own worst enemies there.
Well, Derek Hughes is having a word with Joey Wallace, the referee. I think Joey Wallace is absolutely right. Looks like Dean Richards is going to run this ball, or is he? What's now? He's now thrown it to John Lively and said, give me 3 points, please. But good pressure by Leicester. Every man that was trying to clear for Bristol suddenly found the Leicester jersey all over him.
That sort of knowing look from Dean Richards. And we hear there has been a score at the recreation ground between Bath and Sale, and it's Sale who have taken the lead a Dave Baldwin try. Bath 0, Sale 5. But of course, if Leicester win, then it's all over anyway. Liley not on form today.
No, indeed not, and difficult kick, mind you. It was way out. Bristol have played it quickly, knocked on, or given the penalty.
Leicester just interfering there. Off the ball, this is Ozdemir. And Bristol will be relieved to get out of their own half. And here's Eves to try and cross the halfway line. Long passes for John, and Hull is there. But once again, Richie Robinson was across with a great tackle. Should be Bristol ball, though. Chudley with the dummy. Tainton, this is Denny. Mark Denny, in England under-21 centre. This is Tainton, this is Eves. Chudley with the box kick. Now Tainton surely was barging Kilford off the ball there, preventing Kilford from making a clean catch. The referee is playing advantage, we presume, for that. And he's going to give the penalty.
Fairly blatant push by Mark Tainton on Wayne Kilford as he went up the ball. You'll see him there. He's looking at the ball initially. Didn't even try and catch it either after he pushed him.
A slight concern here for Leicester is that their captain, Dean Richards, to the song of Dino, is receiving treatment. Thankfully, it's not that rib that he damaged against Scotland in the Grand Slam decider. Richards is okay. Meantime, ladies' scores, we have Gloucester 3, Harlequins 5. Remember, if Harlequins win, they stay up. West Hartlepool against Northampton, 0-0 so far. Chudley off to Tainton. Denny, Smith. It's all a bit drift and a bit flat. But Gavin Sharp tries to give it the cutting edge. This is Chudley. Knock on from Archer. It's Kilford's tackle.
Well, as we've said before, it's very noble from Bristol, and they're doing the right thing by running it, but they're just not running straight enough. And certainly, Chudley should have offloaded the ball there to Tainton. He's in the space there. Kilford quite rightly stays on Chudley and makes the tackle. And then it's knocked on. But Leicester won't be panicking about having not scored, but they'll be concerned that they haven't scored for a while. They like to keep the scoreboard ticking over.
Cardooni. Richards. Hughes was on the wrong side and was cleared out of the way in certain terms. Harris is looking for Kilford. I think although he's looking to touch. Didn't find it. Hull. And Cockerell's acrobatics come to nothing.
On the mark.
All Leicester this second half. They've still not been able to add to their half-time tally of points. 14-3 at the interval, still that way now. Tainton, good pick-up. This is Denny. But that Leicester back row have been there when it really matters. Chudley, Tainton, Hinkins. Well, it was Archer who was the link, just as well he was there. This is Fontaine. Yes, he's got it. Dean Richards, quite legally as well. This is Harris, Cardooni, Liley. Paul again hanging out wide. Guildford takes an inside line, and that was good running from him. Garforth. It's set it up in centre field quite beautifully. It's Harris, it's Potter. You have the feeling something's building here now for Leicester. This is Drake Lee, and they get a penalty. As Bristol got that feeling as well, and they strayed on the wrong side. They're on the verge of losing 10 metres here as well.
Well, as you rightly say, the continuity was good from Leicester. Matt Full, good inside passes to Guildford too. Good decision by Guildford. The defence was all coming across. Nice flat pass, to put it kindly, into Garforth. Just a bit loose there. Potter does come onto the ball with pace. That's the good thing. Leicester a little bit over the top there. But this is the chance. John Liley will need to get this one over for his confidence.
It's Mark Regan who's injured. Now, can Liley do it this time? 2 from 6. It's not good for him. He likes it. The crowd like it. 3 vital points for Leicester. Oh, you could feel the sense of relief.
Well, now Bristol do have to play catch-up rugby. They'll probably throw everything into the backs and all over the place, from deep, from everywhere now, to try and make up that huge deficit they've got. But Leicester, in turn, will want to win this title in style.
Richards again. And Harris plays safe. They'd love to open it up at the end of the match, but they will risk nothing yet, because Bristol keep on coming at them. Richards with that broom and dustpan. And Riley away. Even the ball supports Leicester.
Well, once again, Bristol gave the ball away. They had it in their control, and John Liley puts it one over the top. David John watches it bounce, and the roll just goes all Leicester's favour. Big shout from John Liley. He was screaming at Adel Cardooni for the ball, and the crowd certainly enjoyed that, and they expect more now. This huge crowd here at Welford Road.
The confidence level has risen both on the field and in the stands. Starting to look really good now. Regan, who has happy memories of Welford Road this season, scored a try here for England A. But now, with his mind on this throw into the line out, it's Garforth. Cardooni can see it, and he will be able to put the ball into the scrum. As he prepares to do that, we hear from Stuart Barnes.
Well, I think for the neutrals, Bristol's style is very good, but I have to say that if I was playing against this Leicester side with such an organised defence, I'd still be looking to push them into corners and hope that Leicester feel the pressure a little bit, because it's meat and drink to Leicester, and really, if Bristol keep up this style, it's going to make it an entertaining game, but I can see Leicester winning by a lot of points, and I think tactically Bristol are all at sea at the moment.
The pause is for the injury to Big Paul Grant. Leicester second row from Lincolnshire farming stock. That's where he put on the bulk. Richards controls so well at the base of the scrum. That really is high-class technique from Dean Richards. The City's football team have had a miserable year, but not their rugby side. 22 minutes left. It's crumpled at the front. It had gone beyond 90 degrees. And the ladies' scores from around the country. We have Harlequins now 8-3 up at Gloucester, and Northampton leading by 3 points to 0 at West Hartlepool. But of course, if Quins win, then even if Northampton were to win, then that would matter for nothing. Meanwhile, Bristol had a free kick given to them from that scrum. They get a further 10 metres. Leicester didn't retire, and this is Chudley. This is Archer. Tainton, Eves, quite fancied joining the line there, and he joined it at pace and straight as well. Good running from the back row man, showing the backs how to do it. Chudley was prevented there from getting the ball free. Richards is hovering close to the wrong side, and the referee has given Bristol the penalty.
Well played, Bristol. You can't follow that. Derek Eves ran hard, he ran straight, just dragged down at the end. I think it was Dean Richards. There he is. Goes to the ball initially while he's still on the floor. I think that's what the referee gave it for. It was a pity, because that would have been a good quick ball for Bristol. A good play by Eves.
So Mark Tainton, who scored a penalty in the first half, his only previous attempt at goal. His side desperately needs this. And they're not going to get it. And when Tainton starts to miss from that range, then Leicester really can begin to start to think that it's their day. Into the final quarter now. Harris, he's done that little shimmy a few times today, and it's served him well. And then David John couldn't keep it in, to the delight of the Leicester fly half.
Well, yes, indeed. I mean, David John, to be fair to him, was back-pedalling, well, sideways pedalling or something like that, and couldn't quite grab it. Probably a bit unsure where the touchline was as well. And Leicester have relieved what pressure Bristol had on them, and got down in their territory. And I was surprised before that Dean Richards' tactics from that scrummaging area. He should have been looking a bit more positive, I think, and looking to run the ball.
Matt Paul's two-handed takes in this match have been quite something. So much so that you can say that Leicester have barely missed Martin Johnson, and that's credit to Paul and also his partner Grant. Well, Leicester only have themselves to blame there for not using it.
Yes, they do indeed. It was controlled nicely, and I don't think John Wells needed to carry that on. He could have got it out to Cardooni.
And Harlequins now racing away at Kingsholm, 15-3, and that's making it all look rather academic between West Hartlepool and Northampton. But Bristol have been pinned down in their own half in this second period, and Mark Chudley knows it.
You just sense that another try from Leicester, and really they could take the whole game to Bristol and win in real style here today. I mean, 17-3 is no bad scoreline, don't get me wrong, but I'm sure they'd love to repay this faithful crowd with a good 30-pointer, something like that.
Paul got a push at the front, but it didn't matter because Richards took it in. This is Cockrell getting a helping shove in the back in the end from Hinkins. And Robinson darting through the gap. Now, was he offside? I think referee Wallace has took them back for a previous offside anyway. He's penalised Mark Tainton for being offside. Derek Eves, I think, was offside on the second occasion, but the reason for the penalty is Tainton there, you see, too quickly up on Harris.
Yes, but once again the referee played advantage, which was fair enough. Richie Robinson that time came through real pace through the middle and straight, and certainly Potter and Robinson are good at doing that and getting across the gain line and linking up with Drake Lee, Richards and Wells and John Lively. This is a long kick midway between the halfway line and 10-metre line. It's a good whack, this one.
Lively, oh, woeful. For him, that is. Expects more than that these days. That situation was created by Richie Robinson. He used to play his rugby at Blackpool and Market Bosworth until 2 years ago, and now he's in a championship-winning side.
Is it me, or is it odd that John Lively kicks like that when it's 17-3 rather than 9-6 or 12, when it's 12-10 or something? He gets them.
There's probably something in that. Harris bringing in Hackney, who's hardly had a look in today. Cardooni. Wells. This is Harris. Oh, it's a dangerous pass, but it's worked. Hackney goes for the corner. This is Steve Hackney. But Bristol, to their eternal credit, they've got across there. We hear also of another score between Bath and Sale, and it's gone to Sale. They lead now 8-0 against Bath, and it's a Rob Lively penalty. This is Hackney's run, and it was good cover, wasn't it? Just tell you who scored that penalty for Sale. It was Rob Lively, brother of John, so bit of family work there. Of course, they were opponents last week, and Leicester won at Sale. Grant, who quite often has been used as a decoy today to allow the ball to go to Paul, but
Well, it's a Bristol throw to the line out. Pressure throw for Regan, the hooker, to find his man. Because if Leicester get it, I dare say that Mr. Richards will somehow get hands on the ball, roll it round. He's gone to the front of the line out, as we can see there.
On the mark. 4763. 624. Leicester ball.
So Mark Regan, what are you made of? If he has international aspirations, then he will have to survive the pressure, and Gareth Archer also has those same aims to play for England in the near future, and he came up with the catch as well. So two young players there to watch out for, Regan and Archer. Perfectly solid for Bristol. Tainton. Harris was there straight away. He's on the seconds there, Mark Tainton.
Good play by Bristol, though. They defended a very tricky position, very well indeed. Good line-out ball, moved it forward. Good clearance touch. That's well played.
Richard Cockerell, the kind of player that keeps the spirits high in the camp. Unless you're the butt of the practical joke.
All want a bit of peace and quiet.
That's the Bristol 10-metre line. We hear that Sale lead 8-0 against Bath at half-time. And we see that Bristol mount a drive, a very effective drive. And quite rightly, they get the put into the scrum.
Well, now Derek Eves had a quick word with Mark Tainton there, his fly half. Obviously talking tactics, I suppose. What are they going to do? They're going to run it. I presume they must try to bring Paul Hull into the back line. But the hands haven't been great in the midfield. You can see Dean Richards, he's standing off in here. That creates an extra man in defence.
Sharp has gone up looking for this. And he tipped it off to Richards because he knew it was going to be safe. Harris, Potter, come on, run it, the crowd shout. Good pick-up by Kilford. Now, has he got the running to match? Released it straight away. And the referee has penalised Bristol. Coming in at the side and playing the ball on the wrong side. This is Lively. This is Harris. 2 knock-ons, so no advantage for Bristol. First knock-on by Garforth, and then Patton knocked on as well.
It was certainly on for Leicester, it really was. Good vision from John Lively. Garforth couldn't quite collect it, but it was certainly an overlap situation there.
Eves confronted by Cardooni, and Bristol penalty, Armstrong. They're not throwing in the towel.
No, I mean, Bristol have done their fair share today. They really have opened it up. I'm not saying they've always done the right things, and I've also mentioned their ball retention or lack of it, but certainly they've tried to take the game to Leicester, which has been good news.
Tainton, Smith. Just hasn't worked in the Bristol backs, though. And they've had the ball. And on the floor, scooping it back for Leicester illegally in the ruck. As John Wells gets up, he sees Dave Hinkins set off again.
You see, that's a case in point. They've taken a quick penalty. Now, Dave Hinkins, who's gone for the ball, has driven it on, but it's not come back quickly or been able to have the second phase ball they desperately need.
Someone in the crowd has just handed me a T-shirt with all Leicester's victories on this year at home, just to remind me that they are unbeaten at Welford Road. Getting frustrated that I wasn't saying anything about the home record. I shall wear it during the summer.
They forget about the cup home defeats, don't they?
I've got something for the beach now. Chudley. Tainton. Kilford doing the needful, making sure that John could not attack. 8 minutes to go then. 8 minutes away from the title. The gum is still being chewed, but there's a sense of relief as well. Richards. Cardooni. Harris. We've said that little trio on a few occasions this season, and it normally works just like that, clockwork.
Well, it was a mite optimistic of Bristol to throw to the back, and Dean Richards not... Well, if he didn't catch it, he certainly would have wrapped up Ian Patton, the Bristol number 8. As it was, Richards won it, and we know the rest of it.
Have to feel a little sorry for Bristol. They are the make weights on a day like this. Tainter didn't want it there. It slowed it all down. Pass from Chudley, and the knock-on effect was that Denny was quite easily tackled, but they've done well to retain the ball. Regan and Cockrell, now that was boiling up. Richard Cockrell meant that tackle. Harris. Robinson. Again, he might have moved it, but here's Hull. Who was outside of his 22. And therefore, Leicester in an excellent position. That's Mark Denny, who's in trouble there. Clearly in pain.
Well, I'm sure Leicester will want one final score to wrap this game up. Well, it is wrapped up, obviously, in terms of the title. 6 or so minutes to go. Well, just to give the crowd something to roar about, to keep them ticking over the summer period. With the crowd already getting the hands going and the Tigers shout, and you can see a happy lady.
Waited a long time for this. They won the league in its first year back in 87-88. Since then, the road has been strewn with frustrations. Runners-up last year in both league and cup, so that was the ultimate frustration. But now Leicester on the verge of the title that they wanted for so long. But what it needs is the try to finish. It's a long, long time since that opening try for Leicester, as Chudley is caught by his opposite Letter. Well, not quite, it's G against I. They work in different ways, the Letters, Leicester and Bristol. Now there's been a big roar because away behind one of the centre posts, away to our right there, you can see the workmen have been brave enough to lift their banner, which they were painting this morning. Tigers are champs, and few would argue now as Harris feeds on to Potter, who wriggles on with great strength the centre. The only try score of the day so far, but maybe there is another one still to come. Patton. There's no way through there. Chudley was being impeded. A mere consolation for Bristol if they were to score. They haven't looked like scoring in this second half. Even Tatum's penalty was a wayward effort. And Leicester will have the set piece that the crowd were demanding. 3 minutes left of the league season.
Well, they'll be worthy champions too, Leicester. They've certainly got 7 points out of 8 against Bath and Wasps, so you can't fault the facts.
Harris pushing for the corner. Didn't get the bounce this time. You can understand why he did that, just to get really deep inside Bristol territory. Yes, Leicester have won the big games. They got that draw, that crucial draw in October against Bath, away to the champions. And then, of course, they famously beat Bath here in the follow-up game, which has just about secured them of the title. This victory will confirm the title for them. This is Liley. Cardooni so dearly wants to get the backs moving. Bristol get the foot in.
Yes, it hasn't quite clicked for Leicester the second half. They'd laid the foundation to really take this game on in the second half, but it hasn't quite taken off for them.
It's Derek Eves who's clutching his hand there. Having got that call up into the England A squad, it would be desperately sad if Eves were to pick up an injury. Now there's Martin Johnson right in the centre of your picture there. Such an important player for Leicester this year, and so to Johnson's left, Neil Back, he's been a major part of the success.
Must feel very strange for those players. There's your club side out there going for the title, and you've got to sit in the stand and watch it. Players are never great watchers, but on that occasion, for this occasion, they've had to do it, but their replacements have done very well indeed.
I'm watching in our studio Tony Underwood. You can afford to smile, and it's a broad grin as well. And it smiles all round now. The party has already begun. The whistle hasn't gone, but everybody's arrived at the front door.
And there's Dean Richards. He's my man of the match today. I mean, he's really led from the front. He knows all about winning big games and what to do about it, and he's kept the whole side in control.
And there was a lot of responsibility for Dean Richards today in the absence of his England colleagues. But also with the England players not in this Leicester team, isn't it nice to see the rest of the squad getting a chance in a big game like this? Bristol get the free kick though. Patton. Chudley. Eves fully recovered. Tainton. This is Denny. Hull. Leicester want that ball into injury time. Tainton. Chudley's kick. It's too wide. Leicester will get that chance of the world. The final whistle goes. The party can begin officially. Leicester are the Courage League champions 1995, and haven't they deserved it? The crowd have fully deserved it as well, and Dean Richards there. Richard Cockrell as well. Part of this great Leicester success story. They've had their hiccups along the way, especially away from home. Remember, they lost to Bristol earlier in the season, and many thought then that they wouldn't go on to be champs, but they have, because of this great home record. 100%. Handshakes and smiles all round now. Bristol played their part in an entertaining finish to the season, but it was always going to be Leicester's day. photos of great Leicester sides in the 70s and early 80s. Remember Hare and Woodward and Dodge. But here's some of the Leicester faces of the 90s. Rory Underwood, Neil Back and Martin Johnson. It's their day as well. And Dean Richards delighted to be able to applaud the rest of his colleagues. Well played, Martin Johnson, says to Paul Grant. You filled my shoes well. But that great Leicester side, which has seemed to haunt the modern Leicester team, well, maybe those memories can now be put to the back of the mind. Nobody would ever want to forget their achievements in the 70s and 80s, but now Leicester perhaps have a side to match. It's their second league title. They won it in the first year, and it's been a long wait since. And they go over to the loyal supporters, the biggest band of followers on the English club scene. And it's all very emotional here. Of course it should be. It's been a heady cocktail today. The fear factor was definitely involved early on. But as soon as Leicester got control of the match, in that first 20 minutes, they never looked back. And before that trophy is presented, the Leicester players are implored by all sections of the ground to take a wander and receive the well-earned respect of all around here. ABC. Well, today wearing A was Derek Jelly, so it's good to see him part of the celebrations. So patient, waiting in the extras all season. So this is it. This is what it's all about. The president of the RFU, Dennis Easby, hands over the trophy to Dean Richards. A pat on the back from John Jevons Fellows as well. And Dean Richards lifts the trophy for the Tigers. It is their league and their moment to enjoy. Well, there's a bigger scrum down there with all the photographers than there ever was on the pitch earlier. But they're the photos for the morning papers. Won't those papers make good reading for all those Leicester players and officials and supporters? Bit of the sponsor's product being used to shower Dean Richards. Well, I had the pleasure to witness many great days here at the old Leicester side back in the late 70s, and all those players would be absolutely delighted that the modern Leicester team are now holding that trophy. Great day for all of Leicester. The sporting city has something to smile about. Their rugby club has done them proud. Well done, Leicester. Well done, Dean Richards.